that. As I said, I trust in the Cowboys. That's going to get done.
Oh, he got out of trouble. He rolls left and he keeps. He's got the whole sideline.
Just excited to get back to work and get better.
You know, I mean, you just can't go to sleep on the quarterback.
That's how much money he wants. That much. Welcome to Good Morning Football, presented by Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. We're live in New York City talking Dak Prescott, really how this contract situation affects other quarterbacks wanting to get paid. It's August 13th. We're just ahead of preseason week 2. My name's Kay. Nate Burleson. What up?
What's up, Kay?
Did it feel good to get toe drag swag and take the runs out of the way, guys?
The best.
Yeah.
I feel incredible. Like I got a baby now. I just had birth. Incredible. I mean, that was exhausting.
Is that how it feels?
That's how it feels to
Well,
have
it's been
a
like
baby.
9 months since, yes.
What an absurd thing.
Yeah, I'm sure the women out there love that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Love the Jalen Hurd highlights.
Meet Kyle Brandt right now. Peter Schrager is here. We're having a blast, and it's
Don't put me on the spot. Let's go.
Lead block. All right.
Lead
Our
block.
very own Jane Slater is reporting that Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott turned down $30 million a year and is instead seeking a $40 million a year deal, which is a lot of money. Jane continues tweeting, the number, if it gets done, would likely be closer to 34 or 35 million, but as she reported earlier this summer, do not expect a home discount. For reference, okay, that 35 would put him with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, the highest paid quarterback in the league annually right now, $35 million a year with Seattle. Is it a good idea for Dak to raise the stakes? Nate, you started mentioning and talking about negotiations. Maybe 30 is the number, they go at 40, they meet somewhere in the middle. Schrags, I got to bring you into this because I see this two ways. You don't want to start the season when you're making very little money right now, and you've earned very little in your career without the security of a deal done. That said, I feel like 30 might be the floor here in negotiations as far as the market is concerned.
I agree with you. I think 30 is the floor, whether or not that blows people away or not, but 40 is too high. I don't think Dak can get $40 million a year, not in today's NFL and not the way these things are shaping up for the Cowboys. I do think Dak Prescott has a good argument to make to say, hey, I deserve to make somewhere between 30 and 35, maybe even 35 plus. But I also think the numbers, as I mentioned earlier in the show, come with so many different details to them. When we say $30 million a year or $40 million a year, what are we talking about?
There's minutia.
Are we talking about guaranteed money? Are we talking about annual per year? I mean, these contracts, Carson Wentz's contract was like 200 pages long. I got bored reading it. There's escalators involved. There's 2 years left, and then the CBA happens. They're so detailed. These agents are slaves to the CBA and slaves to this. So what we see on Twitter and transactional media and what we see from these reports where it's, hey, $35 million a year, there's more to it. So they'll come to a number. I don't think Dak Prescott will step on the field making what he makes right now, which I think is just about $2 million a year. I don't think he can do that because it's a harm to his body. I also don't think the Cowboys want to start the season without anyone else under center. So they'll find a way. This is kind of just the ugly part of it right now. August 14th, August 13th, where everyone's kind of leaking things here and there.
He's getting crushed, though, for reportedly turning down 30. Is it risky to turn down 30?
I don't think the Cowboys will ever lose in a negotiation. I think they'll find some way to come to a common ground.
And you can say no. Say no to 30 if you want. Like maybe you'll end up at 30. You know, like it's still relatively early. I just think this thing is so unique because of the other people in the room, and they have so many people to pay. And for the Cowboys, every $100,000 in this, every $50,000 matters because that's more money you give to the other guys. We were talking about video games in the commercial, and there's an old setup that went in the racing games they used to have in the early 90s, whether it be RC Pro-Am or Ironman truck racing, where you build up your car, right, and you get a certain amount of credits that some you could put on tires, some you could put on acceleration. Right. If you were fun, you put it all on nitrous. But, like, they can't put it all on one thing. We only got so many credits to make this car run, and we need put a lot of credits on a receiver and running back. But I think they want to get Dak done first, which is why this is probably getting a little tenuous for them.
Let me be a little transparent about my finances when I first got in the league.
Oh, finally.
So
hello.
My second season, I put up the 1,000 yards next to Randy Moss. And I remember my agent at the time, he said, I'm going to try to get you a $36 million deal.
Okay.
And I was blown away, and I was scared. And I said, don't do it, don't do it. He's like, well, the team's not going to like it. But, Nate, I'm telling you, this is where receivers are headed. You put up 1,000 yards. It's hard to do. And I said, no, I don't want you to talk to the team because the team is telling me if I ask for too much, then they won't accept an offer, and then I might lose out. He was like, Nate, don't worry about the team. Like, you're a business, and your business is booming, so after this 1,000 yards, I'm going to ask for the world. I literally talked him off the ledge, and I took a lot less when I went to Seattle after that deal was done. I learned from that situation
Regret it?
because shortly thereafter, there's guys that put up 500 yards, 600 yards, 700 yards, and they were getting that $35 million. You fast forward to the Seattle deal. At the end of my Seattle tenure, I'm negotiating with Seattle and the Detroit Lions. And we're going back and forth, literally, phone to phone. Agent says, well, Seattle says this, Detroit says that. At one point, Seattle stopped, and they didn't pick up the phone. I said to my agent, let's just act like Seattle's on the phone and tell Detroit we want an extra $1 million. He said, Nate, that's not really how it works. I said, listen, I learned from the past, if you don't ask for it, then you're not going to get it. At the very least, they're going to stick to what they offered me. Best case scenario is they give me an extra $1 million. They added an extra $1 million to my guaranteed money because we basically said that we're still negotiating. Fast forwarded all the way to now being a 38-year-old man, I'm able to negotiate contracts with small things, very small scale things, whether it's a side business, side venture, commercial, being in a magazine. And I've learned never, ever, ever accept the first offer. Never. And when you do counter, you counter big. You don't counter right around the number they're asking for, because if they're willing to offer you, let's just say this is all true. Theoretically, Dallas offers $30 million, Dak says 40. That's perfect. Because if Dak comes in and says, you know what, I'll take 31, then they'll say no. If you're willing to just set above $1 million, we're going to offer you 30, and we know that you're going to take it. But at this point, whatever they offer him, I guarantee they realize Dak Prescott sees his worth at a lot higher than what we see it. And if he sticks to that, he'll get paid more than $30 million.
We'll see if they meet in the middle. Of course, we're on Zeke Watch all day long. We'll be talking about this all day on NFL Network as well.